Obviously the Auburn game is always a big game here. I think the fact that they're number one in the country makes it even bigger. So we played them tough at our place. There's a lot that felt like we could have cleaned up. They obviously feel like they could clean up a lot too. Kessler was in foul trouble. Some of their guys didn't play their better games, but I feel like there's stuff we can improve on, adjust. Both teams are going to make adjustments. It's going to be in their gym this time. It's going to be loud. It's going to be a great environment. I like playing over there. It's a great environment for a basketball game. So it'll be a fun game. I tell our guys this is why you spend all the time in the gym working on your game to playing big games like this. So thought we just finished up a great practice. I like where our guys' heads are at. I thought we played a lot harder, a lot better against Baylor than we had been playing. Our practice going into Baylor looked a lot better. I thought our practice today looked a lot better than what it had before too. So I'm excited for where we're at. Hopefully we turn the corner and can bring an effort like we did against Baylor every night out from here on out.
Okay, we'll go ahead and get started with questions. Let's start with Michael Casagrande first.
Yeah, we were just talking on the players. I think it was Juwan Gary who said that the Baylor game was kind of a breaking point for them to get back to who they were. Do you see that? Is that your read on the situation, or is it something you have to wait and see how they respond moving forward from it?
Based on this team, I think we got to kind of wait and see what happens moving forward. But I do like where I think you can sense what's going on in practice. I do think guys have turned over a new leaf. I think we're worried about playing hard, making the right plays, about the right stuff. Guys seem to be able to move on quicker after mistakes or any type of adversity, bad calls, whatever happens. So we'll see the proof's in the pudding, as they say. We'll see what our actions look like when the ball tips up, because I felt pretty good previous times during the year, and we've come out and not played so well. But I really do think that the guys understand what it takes, understand that 75, 80% effort's not a max effort, and it's not going to get it done. And nothing less than 100% effort's not acceptable. And I think they're to that point, and they're sick of losing. And if you look at our better wins, we had 3 of last year's Final Four teams on the slate, and we swept them. We went 3-0. So if you look at our wins, we look like we're one of the best teams in the country. You look at our losses, we look rather pedestrian, average. So I'd like to think these guys don't want to be average. They want to be great. We need the effort that we've shown, in those big wins. And I thought we got a pretty good effort against Auburn here, to be honest with you. But they're number one team in the country. So you can play a great game and still lose the game. If we play a great game and lose, you can live with that. It's just the efforts that we've had in some of the losses, that's unacceptable and not tolerated. And I think the players are to the point where they're not going to tolerate it anymore either.
Joe Gaither, go ahead.
Coach, I believe you're 5-0 in games that Juwan Gary plays 25 minutes or more. Can you first speak on, one, what his impact is for the team? And then secondly, in the game against Auburn, he got into some foul trouble. What kind of adjustments are you going to make with him, or if any, going into the Auburn game tomorrow night?
Yeah, we got to stop fouling jump shooters. We fouled Jabari taking jump shots 3 different times. Juwan had 2 of them. Jabari, he's good. He's got, you put your hands in. He's got that sweep through move. He gets, it's an NBA move. You can't get caught with your hands in there. Juwan had him in there early. The first foul on Juwan, where Jabari just fell on his own, it was kind of unlucky. The ref thought he got tripped where he didn't. But, Juwan's got the ones we can eliminate. You're going to have some plays like that in basketball. Referees aren't perfect. But the ones Juwan can't eliminate, where he's got his hands in there and we know he's going to sweep through, you can't get those this game. We need to keep him in there. Obviously, like you said, when he plays 25-plus minutes, we're undefeated. He's a big part to what we're doing. We need to try to keep him in there. He brings us energy. He almost shot 100% from the field against Baylor. I think he was 7 of 8 and missed a wide-open alley-oop that he would never usually miss. So he gets to the offensive boards. We need his presence on defense. So, yeah, we got to keep him out of foul trouble. He's not the only one. We had some other guys with some dumb fouls, fouling jump shooters that we need to eliminate this upcoming game.
Let's go next to Jeff Spiegel.
Good morning, Nate. How proud are you of the fact of what you and Bruce have done in terms of raising the relevance of basketball in this state between your program and Auburn's programs?
Well, Bruce had a big head start. Before I got here, he made it to the Final Four. That my last year at Buffalo, their year they went to the Final Four. So he's done a really good job building that program up. Now they're number one in the country. So, he's got Auburn on the map. I think we've been able to get this program up to where it's being talked about nationally more. Won the SEC last year. So, Bruce said to me before our game here, like, now this game means something, not just in the state of Alabama. This game means something nationally. I think this next game means even something more nationally. It'd been nice if we could have handled our business against some of the teams that we should have beaten and beat them, and we'd both be ranked. But can't fix that now. The only thing we can do now is worry about what's in front of us, and I think we're playing pretty good basketball, and they're the number one team in the country. So hopefully moving forward, both these programs are both nationally ranked and both playing for Final Fours and championships, and this game continues to mean something on a national level, and we can get both these places packed. With our home game, it was a little unfortunate. Our football team was in the national championship the night before, and I think a lot of our fans were maybe still down there. And we've got a little bit larger arena than they have, and they traveled over here a little bit. They had a few fans in here. Hopefully we sneak a few Alabama fans in over there, but that place is going to be nuts because they don't seat very many people. So it's a hot ticket when there's only, what was it, seat 8,000? Is that right? About 8 to 10,000, whatever it is. And they're the number one team in the country. They're going to sell a place out pretty much every night. So that's what they're doing. So it's a big game in the state of Alabama, but it's a big game nationally, and it kind of speaks to what Coach Pearl's been able to accomplish over there in his years at Auburn.
Let's go next to Austin Hannon.
You kind of mentioned it a little bit, but what were the main points of emphasis that you think you guys kind of struggled on the first matchup?
Keeping them out of transition. We gave them too many transition points. We got to stop fouling. Foul them too much, particularly jump shooters. We got to do a way better job on Jabari. He kind of went to work on us. Our ball screen defense wasn't great, especially on Wendell Green. There, he got us late. Thought he got us, period. He hit some pull-up jumpers. So those are the bigger points. Obviously, that's a lot, but those were some of the things that hurt us. I mean, they're a good team. I thought, and we got to play the full 40. I thought there was a lull there in the second half where we went down 14. Thought our guys showed a ton of fight and resilience to come back and tie it from being down 12 or 14, whatever it was there. But we got to stay in this. I told our guys 2 years ago we went to their place, started the game down 16-0. And we ended up sending it to overtime, but we had to break an SEC record for threes made a game because we had to shoot so many threes when you get down 16-zip. We got to have a better start to the game. So our consistency for 40 minutes has to get better, and that was the same thing first time we played them. We got a little bit of lull there in the second half, and they built up a big lead, and then we came fighting back. We got to try to stay in this and not give up big leads in this game at their place.
Maxwell Donaldson, go ahead.
You kind of touched on, how you guys can improve slowing down Jabari Smith, but how do you make sure you don't focus too much on Jabari and let someone like Kessler or Green or even Katie Johnson get you guys?
Yeah, I mean, they've got a ton of weapons. Kessler's been their leading scorer over the last 5 games. He was in foul trouble against us, so, be great if we get him in foul trouble again, but we can't plan on that happening. So, you focus on Jabari to a point, but Jabari's matchup has to do his job. If we got to bring all kinds of help, like this isn't a team where they've got 9 players on the floor. I mean, they're the number one team in the country. They've got players on the floor at all 5 positions all the time. I mean, one guy nobody's even talking about is Alan Flanagan, who was on some first-round draft boards coming into the season. Like he's, Green's been great. He comes off the bench for him. Kessler's been great. He's their leading scorer the last 5 games. Jabari Smith, I haven't seen Duke play, so I haven't seen all the guys talked about for number 1 pick in the draft. But from all the guys I've seen, Jabari is probably going to be top pick in the draft, or at least top 2 or 3. KD Johnson's big-time player. He gets downhill, plays well. But Alan Flanagan was supposed to be a first or second round pick, and he got the injury. Seems like he's back. So I mean, they're loaded. So if we think we're going to focus all of our attention on Jabari and let somebody else beat us, we're not going to win the game. So we got to do a better job on Jabari with his matchup, without having to force a ton of help.
Okay, we got these last 3 questions in the queue. We'll finish up with these 3. Let's start first with Steve Moulton.
Coach, appreciate the time. Hope you're doing well. I did have a couple, if I could. Just the cleanup of Baylor. What kind of impressions did you have of that? Just watching the film, and then Charles Bediako. If you could speak to his development and maybe what you'd like to see for him moving forward, Coach.
Charles is coming. We'd like to see him rebound the ball a little bit better. We'd like to see him be able to get a little stronger. That's going to have to happen in the off season. But just right now, we need him a little more aggressive, try to go up, dunk the ball when he's got a chance, and just figure out a way to find his way into some more rebounds. But defensively, he's been pretty good. He's got to get a little bit better guarding the post individually. Just, again, some of that's going to come with some strength and some weight that we'll be able to put on the offseason. As far as cleanup goes against Baylor, I thought our defensive efficiency, I believe, was a .86 through the first 28 minutes of the game. At the under 12 media timeout, we were at a .86. I think over the next 12 minutes to close the game out, it was high. It was 1.4 something, if I remember right. I don't have it sitting in front of me. But it goes back to our consistency over 40 minutes. Now, within those 12 minutes, our ball screen defense gave us some major issues. We gave them 2 3-point plays right out of the gate at the under 12 media timeout, if I remember correctly. So they had 6 points in the first 2 possessions. Then we switched up our coverage to go to switching, gave up a 3 against a switch, which should never happen because you shouldn't have to help off. When you're switching, we didn't execute a clean switch. So, we had a bad start there at that under 12 media timeout. I think from the 12 to 8, there was 10 possessions. We gave up 20 points. That's awful. So we got to do a better job closing the games. We got to do a better job playing every 4-minute segment with equal intensity and focus. We got to do a better job in our ball screen defense, whether we're switching, whether Charles is in his whatever coverage we have him in, whether, we're going to switch coverages up based on their personnel, our personnel. So, and everybody's just got to be on the same page. So those were the biggest cleanups. Our turnovers were still a little too high. I think our analytics people had us for 17 turnovers. That's way too many. So we've got to cut some of those out as well.
Jerry Tipton.
Yeah, Coach, I wanted to ask you 2 questions if I could. One, and you kind of touched on this, how do you explain such a good record against ranked teams, some of the best teams in the country, yet some of the losses like to Georgia or Missouri? And also, how big of a week is this for you guys? You got number 1 Auburn and then Kentucky at home.
Yeah. Has the rankings come out yet this morning or not?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see what Kentucky's going to be ranked after their week. I mean, they go into Kansas and handle Kansas the way they did. I wouldn't doubt that they're in the top 5. So we may end up playing 3 straight top 5 teams, depending on what the rankings come out, which is an unbelievable stretch for us. The good thing is we got the first one. So now we just got to take them one at a time. If I could explain to you, why we play the way we do against Gonzaga, Houston, Tennessee, LSU, Baylor, and then play the way we do against Memphis, Missouri at their place, Georgia, and Dave Davidson's a good team, but we didn't play the best basketball we played against them either. But we've got 7 losses. The only one out of the 7 that any analytics metrics has ranked ahead of us is Auburn at our place. So we've lost to 6 teams that everybody has ranked below us. The Mississippi State on the road one, maybe you can understand that, but we didn't play great and still had them down 5, and then we just couldn't rebound the basketball in the last 8 minutes. The only explanation I really have is that our guys play to the level of their competition way too much, and that I've got to do a better job figuring out the psyche of this team and doing a better job motivating them to play with the same energy no matter who the opponent is. And we've had a lot of team meetings. We've talked about it. The thing is, the next 2 games aren't those games that we've struggled in, so I anticipate us playing hard, playing well, playing with a lot of focus, a lot of energy, and then we'll just have to see if we can't maintain that focus every single game we play from here on out. Because if we don't play with that focus, if we play with the same type of energy and effort that we have against some of the unranked lower level teams with not as good of records, we get blown out in these games. I think our guys know that. So to even be in these games, there's a certain type of energy and effort you got to bring, and we've been bringing that. And then we end up with a win. I mean, if you look, it's, everybody wanted to write about our offense last year. I think our offense finished 30th in the country at the end of the year. Our offense is 8th ranked offense in the country on KenPom this morning. Like, our struggles right now are not on offense. We may not be shooting the ball well. I think we're 6th in the country in 2-point percentage. Like, we're scoring the ball well at the rim. We made tweaks to our offense over the offseason that have paid off a lot, getting better rim shots, not shooting so many contested shots at the rim, not getting our shot blocked. But our problems, our defense went from 3rd in the country to, I think, 71st this morning. So we've got to get locked into the defensive end every single game, whether it's a top 5, top 15 ranked team in the country or not. So I don't have much more of an explanation than that, but we got to figure it out, and I don't anticipate there being a problem here this week.
Okay, let's finish up with a follow-up from Michael Cascarande.
What do you think about Juwan Gary and his mask? And do you think it brought him some kind of superpowers in the game the other day? Had a pretty big game against Baylor.
Yeah, what super hero? Who's he look like? I guess, Michael. What's your comparison?
I'm not a superhero guy.
Yeah, I'm not either. That's why I'm asking you. You're not a golf guy either. But, yeah, some people maybe said Batman. I mean, is he Batman? Maybe, I don't know what kind of superhero powers he needs. But he that's the second one he's had. He had a generic one that wasn't fitted to his face. When he had that one in practice, I think he had some problems breathing. Clark, we had this 3D scan that they sent in. It's specially made for just Juwan, the one he wore for the game. He got that just in time for the game. So I think it looks good on him. Maybe keep wearing it. If he shoots 7 for 8 from the field every time he wears the mask, I think we'll keep it. Get him to get a few rebounds, make him feel a little bit more like a tough guy. Get in there and get some tough defensive rebounds, take a few charges, and we'll keep it good. Shoot, if it works for him, we might just get it made for a few other guys if he's able to play that well with it.